And we're learning now about two more of the men who already lost their jobs in the scandal, including one supervisor who used Facebook to brag about checking out Sarah Palin. Hear what Palin is saying about all of it in about 30 minutes. And he's not out of jail yet, but the man who admits to killing Trayvon Martin can be set free soon on $150,000 bail. George Zimmerman took the stand wearing a suit and shackles at a bond hearing today. He used the opportunity to apologize to the teenager's parents.
I wanted to say I am sorry for the loss of your son. I did not know how old he was. I thought he was a little bit younger than I am, and I did not know if he was armed or not.
David Mattingly is live for us in Sanford, Florida. It was a remarkable thing to watch on television. David, how did the Martin family respond to that? You were there in the courtroom.
Yes, this was completely unexpected, and I was looking right at Trayvon Martin's mother and father as George Zimmerman was talking directly to them. I didn't see much of a reaction at all. They were very stoic. At times during the hearing, they would turn to each other and whisper something, but not much reaction at all. As soon as this hearing was over, they got up and left the courtroom very quickly, didn't speak to anyone, and then they had their attorney come out to the cameras outside the courthouse to express their outrage.
Why today, when he made all those statements to the police, why not show remorse there if he was sincerely apologetic for killing this unarmed child?
Zimmerman was also grilled by prosecutors when he mentioned this. The prosecutor questioned him about the timing of this and about why he didn't say something before, but Zimmerman said he did say that he was sorry to the police, sorry for what has happened. He also said that he was instructed not to talk to the family of Trayvon Martin. So that was his explanation for not saying something sooner.
David Mattingly, thanks so much from Florida. And joining me now for the legal perspective on George Zimmerman's bond hearing, CNN legal analyst Sunny Hostin of former federal prosecutors, and Mark Nejame, a criminal defense attorney. Thanks to both of you for being with us. First of all, Sunny, we heard George Zimmerman say he didn't know Trayvon Martin was a teenager, and he didn't know whether or not Martin was armed. Well, why does it matter whether Zimmerman knew Martin's age or whether or not he was armed if he wasn't being attacked?
Well, yes, and I think it matters, quite frankly, because what we heard today in the courtroom is very different from the evidence that we have heard. I mean, bottom line is, he said in the courtroom he thought that Trayvon Martin was close to his age. Well, we know that George Zimmerman is 28 years old. On the 911 call, he describes Trayvon Martin as in his late teens. So that's a really significant inconsistency, showing that perhaps he's being disingenuous. He also said today in testimony, Jessica, that he thought he wasn't sure if Trayvon Martin was armed, but we know that he told police that he shot in self-defense because Trayvon Martin grabbed his gun. So there are significant inconsistencies in the little bit that he said on the witness stand today from what has come out before, and I would suggest that that's going to be a problem for him in the long term.
Mark, there was a stunning moment during the hearing today when Zimmerman's defense attorney questioned the state's lead investigator and got what sounded to me like a very weak reply. Let's listen to this.
Do you have anything besides what you just identified, a copy of the probable cause affidavit?
No reports or anything, no.
Bring any supporting documentation with you to the courtroom on his bond motion at all?
No, I was not planning on testifying.
Mark, the entire country is watching this, and yet the state seems so unprepared. How is this possible?
Well, this is the way it often works. You know, there was a lot of bravado about bringing this case out and such, and it seems like that as much time as was spent with the bravado should have been spent in preparing this case. How do you have a lead investigator show up to court and say we weren't prepared to have him called? The burden of proof, the state knew that they had to establish proof evident, presumption great, and it had to be overcome by the defense. The only evidence there was that affidavit, so they knew that that was going to be torn apart.
Okay,
and to leave an investigator wide open, They completely came in unprepared.
Okay, Sonny, let's move on. At one point, the defense asked the state's investigator whether he could provide any proof that would dispute Zimmerman's claim that Trayvon Martin assaulted him first. Listen to how the investigator responded.
That contention that was given to us by him, other than filling in the figures being one following or chasing the other one, as to who threw the first blow, no.
So that's the state's case. That wasn't very powerful. Is the state's lack of compelling evidence at the hearing today a sign that their overall case may not be very strong, or is it just that they weren't very prepared?
I don't think, I think they were prepared, actually, so I disagree with Mark on that. But I don't think we can read into what we saw today. I don't think we can take away from that this case is not a strong case, or that this prosecution isn't going to be prepared at trial. The bottom line is this was a bond hearing. The burden was very, very high on the prosecution. They would have had to have proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. I suspect they knew that it was going to be very difficult to prevent George Zimmerman from getting a bond, and they did rely on the affidavit. But it's very clear, Jessica, in all cases that an affidavit for probable cause is not a complete recitation of the facts. It is a thumbnail sketch. And of course the investigator wasn't prepared to testify because the government didn't call the investigator. The defense called the investigator, and that's something that is unusual. And so I don't think that the prosecution was unprepared, and in fact I think that it played out the way many of us suspected it would play out, that George Zimmerman did get some sort of bond package. I do believe that the $150,000 bond was a little lower than it